I remember when I first discovered that sounds in movies are made in a studio and not recorded on set. It was interesting to me that sounds we take for granted in movies, like the rustling of grass or some footsteps, are synthetic. I didn't really think about the fact that someone had to make those sounds, I just found it interesting. I have always loved music and am very particular about the quality of the songs that I have. I didn't want anything that sounded bad or scratched. I had amassed a rather large library of songs, and my friends knew it. That is what started my path towards DJing. I did a gig at a friend's wedding and started researching how to be better. I discovered Full Sail University and found that there were more options by getting a degree in recording arts. I could be a sound engineer and work in movies making those sounds and making sure they are good quality. The first time I really thought about being a sound engineer was after I discovered Full Sail University and what they could do for me. I remember when I first watched Transformers the movie and was taken back to my childhood when I heard Optimus Prime speak.
Autobots, roll out!
It took my breath away and my eyes were glued to the screen. When the movie started, I was anticipating an amazing film with a great storyline. I never could have predicted that I would be awestruck. When I first saw Bumblebee, it was incredible. I couldn't get the smile off my face. It wasn't until I saw Optimus Prime that it took my breath away. Just seeing him gave me goosebumps and took me back to my childhood. Then his iconic voice came through.
I am Optimus Prime.
The world stood still. I was so glad that the filmmakers were able to get the original voice actor for Optimus, Peter Cullen. Without him, I don't think the film would have been the same. The fact that the human character's name is Sam, as it was in the original animated series, is just a bonus. After the movie was over, I started thinking about how awesome the sound was of the robots transforming, and wondering how they made that sound. It was so unique that if you heard it without the film, you could still associate it with the Transformers. When it comes to filmmaking, the writing happens in pre-production. The writer, or more often than not writers, have to make a script. The writers of the Transformers movie were actually two guys, Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman. They finished the script in 6 months. When it comes to writing a script, you don't just start writing, you have to first brainstorm and write down any ideas you have. In fact, as you're writing your script, you could have even more ideas, and you have to break from writing your script to write down your ideas. As you write, you have to remember that you are trying to keep this as visual as possible. You have to write what they will see and hear. You have to write them a story that you're going to show them and not just tell them. Whereas if you were writing a novel, you could describe everything in words and use inner monologues. Basically, without writing the script, there would be nowhere for the movie to start or any direction for it to go or end. There has to be a writer that put the script together in a way that can be viewed by the audience of the film. After the film has been shot, then the film goes into post-production. This is where the editing takes place for not just the video, but the audio as well. Randy Tom, director of sound design at Skywalker Sound, says almost every big-budget film has music for at least 85% of its running time. And where there's no music, there is almost always a continuous stream of dialogue. Sound is essential for a film. Without it, you wouldn't have a very good movie. That being said, you want to make sure that the quality of your sound is good too. To me, this sounds like fun. To take a film, add or take away the appropriate sounds and songs to make the movie even better would be awesome. However, this can also be a nightmare. The detail that you have to go through to include the sound of nature, or in the case of Castaway, to remove all the sounds of nature. Tom goes on to say that during the post-production he was instructed to not include any sounds of nature. They deliberately edited out all manner of insects and were sure not to film any wildlife in the shots during filming in order to make the island seem more deserted. So naturally there would be no sounds of nature. But sound isn't just for ambiance. You need dialogue as well. To get the sound of the actor, you want to make sure that it is a clean recording. Sometimes you have to do a voiceover. This requires the actor to come into the studio after filming and read lines into a microphone in front of the film playing and timed just right so the dialogue is synced with the scene. Not only are the use of microphones needed, but also several other pieces of hardware and software. Basically, to make an amazing movie, there is a lot of work still to be done behind the scenes after filming. There are dedicated people who want to make sure that the final product is as good as it can be. I know that I appreciate their hard work in films such as Transformers. One day I hope to be one of those dedicated people working on the final cut. So the next time you watch a movie and you don't notice those subtle sounds of birds, bugs, or any other lifelike sound effects, just remember that someone did their job right.